Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. I hope you guys are having a lovely weekend. We are rounding out the weekend here. It is Sunday for a lot of you. I'm sorry you lost an hour in the middle of the night. It was stolen from you. I don't think that's fair. It's just the way the world works, unless you're in a place like Arizona where we don't change time. So nothing really changed for me except for you guys all changed around me. Yeah. Yeah. So here we go. Blameless creature right here. And then you guys, I don't know what the heck's going on. Anyways, thank you guys so much for jumping on in. I'm trying to be better about doing like a weekend stream that's sort of in the middle of the day for the folks out in the States. And that is because I want to provide a stream for our lovely folks across the pond. Let me get a little background music going. Ooh, yeah, I like that. I like a little background music. It makes me feel less naked up here. So yeah, I want to do something for everyone that is, in the UK. I know it's kind of a late night for you guys, and I know it's Sunday, but hopefully you can tune in. I'm going to try to do these on Saturday when I can. That way it's not, when people are having to go to work the very next day. But this weekend it didn't work out that way because ended up going to see Nine Inch Nails on Friday, and it just sort of like shuffled the whole schedule around. Anyways, I wanted to avoid doing a stream late at night and then one early the next day, but that's how it worked out. Thank you to my friend Siobhan, and thank you to Nine Inch Nails for making that happen. Definitely worth the trouble, I guess, if you want to call it that. Yeah, we're going to jump into some horror news, guys. And thank you so much for joining. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, all that kind of good stuff. You won't miss when I, do one of these streams at an odd time of day. Or honestly, if you're relatively new, you probably don't know this. If you've been around a while, you probably know this. Sometimes I just create a live stream mere hours before going on live. So there's a little bit of randomness going on here at the Davey Deathray channel, but it's fun. So sign on up, hit the notification bell, and you won't miss any of those last minute lives that we do over here. I do want to let you guys know we have a poll in the chat. I'm just curious. So I did news live for a while, and then I got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, all the mistakes. And I found that I was editing anyways in the aftermath. So I started doing news pre-recorded. And sometimes that's really good. Like I think for certain stories, when like trailers and all that kind of stuff, I love covering trailers and pre-recorded videos. It just allows me to kind of like get in my own head about the trailer and doesn't feel so much of a performance reading like a live stream would, And then certain stories like, yeah, some of the Scream stuff that I've covered previously on the channel, those just need their own videos. But these little news roundups are kind of fun to do once a week. It allows us to get at some of the stories that maybe aren't quite as big, but people would still want to know or have covered. So yeah, hopefully it's something that you guys dig. I can still take these videos and snip them out and drop them on the channel. That way people can get that a la carte news bit kind of experience that I played around with. So yeah, these channels, guys, they're always kind of in flux. You're always kind of examining things and changing things and just trying to massage it to find the thing that, find the whole thing that works best for all of you guys. So that's the pursuit here, is to do something that ultimately you guys would enjoy and that you guys would flock to and want to become a bigger part of. So looks like most of you really do like the news live. We can do that once a week. And I can chop it up. Sometimes I've even chopped around some of my mistakes on those. Some of the mistakes you can't chop around, but some of them you can make them a little less awkward. It's like going back to, if you could go back to your high school days and just take out a couple of those awkward moments, knowing that some awkward moments are still gonna be there. That's just the way life is, huh? So thank you so very much again, guys, for jumping on in. I know I've been streaming a lot lately. I am trying to provide you guys with different kind of streaming content though. And in no way is that a dig to anyone else. I love that there are, I'm kind of a general horror channel. I was wondering like, what am I in the horror community? Like I'm not, even though Halloween's my favorite slasher, I'm not the Halloween guy. I'm not known for being the Halloween guy. I'm not even known for being the Evil Dead guy. And that's my favorite franchise in all of horror. So I'm trying to figure out what am I known for? My buddy Cecil was like, dude, you're the live guy. That's what you're known as. Like, you are the live stream guy. And so, you know, we talk about when things get really saturated, Welcome to Derry, Stranger Things, Scream, like we will talk about those things, and we'll talk about them quite a bit. I am making a concerted effort though to open up the topics, because I know we can still get that Scream chat almost daily from a live stream, and totally cool. I'm not in the business of trying to tell any other content creator what to do. But I think it's kind of cool to offer just a little break from that. So I'm so happy that you guys are joining in. We have no Scream topics to cover today in the news. Nothing about the 8th film, but when that drops, we'll talk about that. I also want to let you guys know we have a super chat goal going. You guys have been amazing about that. I want to reiterate, super chats are just extra. It is you know, I'm not going to have streams where I'm like refusing to look at chats that don't have super chats attached to them or anything like that. But if you want a little something extra, the super chat goal is a way to attain that. So if you guys, after I cover the news, if you want to keep on chatting, we can reach that goal. It's really, you know, 10 super chats of $2 or more. So, you know, pretty easy peasy, but also like not a big deal. You know, it's not a requirement to hang out at all. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to say what's up to you guys. We're going to dive into the stories. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish, 5 or 6. A couple of them, the 5 and 6 are like little small things. So yeah, we've got like a few bigger stories that we'll cover. Guys, if there's something that I've missed, like I just reloaded Bloody Disgusting. That's kind of like my compass is Bloody Disgusting. I'm not saying that they're the end all be all or anything. I like their site. I feel like they funnel a good amount of horror news our way. And I like the idea of kind of partnering up. They don't know about me, so it's not an official partnership. I like the idea of sort of attaching myself to a news outlet. That way there's just consistent, you know, there's just some consistency there. But I do search for other spots. If there's another publication that you find your horror news at that you trust and you find is trustworthy and uses other sources and all that, then I am so down to check that out. And guys, the reason why I only go by official news sources, I know that there are YouTube channels out there where people have certain, you know, industry connections and stuff, and they're able to talk about things before they're made official. I wait to talk about things until they're official because I don't have those connections and I just want to be sure. So it's not, it's journalistic integrity. I mean, it kind of is. We're talking about horror movies, but at the same time, I don't want to go out there and cause a stir with any percentage of our horror community because I'm like saying something that isn't true or not confirmed yet, and then stuff changes. So there we go. That's my little pitch on that. I'm going to jump in and say what's up to you guys, and then we'll get rolling. I hope you all are having an amazing Sunday. Holy cow, we have 20 people hanging out in the middle of the day. That's incredible. Guys, make sure you hit that like button. Yeah, subscribe, share the channel with people who you think would dig this kind of content. That's a great way to help the channel. I mean, really all it costs you is your finger hitting the phone. So we do that thousands of times a day. And you can throw a little love to the Davey Deathray community. How about it? We got Ghost in the Dark Hills hanging out. What's happening, Ghost? Welcome on in. Adrian James is kicking it with us. What's happening, Adrian? We got Lizzie with a Y, one of our great channel members. What's happening, Lizzie? Linda G hanging as well, another one of our channel members. What is going on, Linda? Tired today because of the time change. Yeah. How does it feel to not lose an hour of sleep like us losers, Davey? Linda wants to know. You know, it's sad for me, Linda, because I prefer it when I'm just 2 hours separated from my East Coast buddies and East Coast audience members. It makes it a little easier to work with both of our schedules. You know, the 3 hour difference makes it a little, it's not tougher. And in some ways it's like, I guess it sort of like frees up a part of my night. But it's just like another thing to consider when I'm setting up streams, because honestly, guys, I set up streams, even though I'm out here in the desert and everything, I set up East Coast time because there's so many people living out there. I want to make sure I don't want to cut that audience out. Absolutely. And so yeah, usually I'm thinking in East Coast time as it pertains to the channel. Even when I'm dropping videos, I think East Coast time. So it's just kind of the way I am. What's up, Jamie Hart, our original Death Squad mod and our Mama Mod, also one of our lovely channel members. Hope you're doing well, Jamie. We got my guy Ryan Michael in the house. Ryan got the YouTube app and figured it out all by himself. Guys, Ryan is a buddy of mine from my Portland days. We worked together at Hot Lips Pizza. And oh my gosh, once I saw the thorn tattoo on the inside of Ryan's wrist, I knew that I had a friend there. And I knew I had a friend, like I knew I could talk the nerdiest of the nerd. Like when you see a thorn tattoo on someone, then you know, like we're having next level deep dive horror talk. You know, we're not having, did you know the mask was based on William Shatner's face kind of talk, you know, which people still come up to me. I think it's really funny when you tell people you love Halloween and then they try to like, oh, did you know this? And I'm like, dude, I just told you I love Halloween. Like, do I look like an asshole? Do I look like a liar? Fuck out of my face. Like, I'm not really a jerk, but I will certainly act a jerk to people that try to give me new knowledge on Michael Myers. Yeah, I've actually known that since like 1994, bitch. No, I'm just but welcome on in, Ryan. So happy to see you represented in the chat, man. Thank you so much for being a channel member. I love your curse icon there. I've got a soft spot for Curse of Michael Myers. I know that we both do. So yeah, it's been great reconnecting with you, Ryan. We talked the other night, guys. It was like 2.5 hours, just like catching up and talking about horror on the phone. What a world. What a world. We got Jigsaw jumping on in, one of our great channel members, dropping a $2 super chat, getting everything kicking and cooking. Thank you so much, Jiggy. Really appreciate you, man. Hell yeah. Officially a part of the Death Squad. I love it. I love it, Ryan. Love seeing it. We got Aaron Click hanging out. What's happening, Aaron? Gene Whitacombe is here as well. What's up, Gene? Paula Fitzhenry. Oh, yeah. What's happening? Paula. Davey, you should have provided an indifferent. You do what you want to do. Yeah. Well, I guess I still will mix it up, Aaron. There are going to be times, guys, where we get a news drop that's like, this shit has to be covered like right now. And I'll probably just do a pre-recorded video. You know what I mean? Like if we get some surprise Friday the 13th announcement about Crystal Lake, I'm not anticipating it because apparently it's coming out in November. We're in March, so it's 8 months away. I would love if this Friday the 13th, just give us a one sheet for Crystal Lake. One sheet with an official title. I don't even need like to see what Jason looks like on the one sheet. It can be so vague. I don't need to see a production still. I don't need to see a trailer this early on. A one sheet with a title card so we know what Crystal, like, so we can close our eyes and picture what this Crystal Lake show could end up, you know, looking like, essentially. That's all I really want from them this time around. But yeah, if we get something like that, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to cover it. You know, when the Evil Dead Burn trailer drops, I'm definitely going to jump in and cover that. So yeah, we'll do a mix. And I think I'll just, as part of my weekly, you know, midday or weekend midday live streams, we'll cover news, any little news stories that have popped up or anything like that. So yeah, you're right on track there, Aaron. You are right on track. You're right in my head. Is it? I thought the whole month was for the women. I don't know. Like a birthday isn't enough. Birthday and Mother's Day for moms isn't enough. I don't know. I don't subscribe to this month is for this group of people. I definitely don't. It kind of grosses me out a little bit, to be honest. Okay. We got Gorehound Gazette jumping on in, says, don't know how you have the stamina. If you only knew about the Davey Deathray stamina. That's a joke. Yeah, you know, originally it was going to be Friday night and then a Sunday afternoon thing, and then 9 Inch Nails fell in my lap, literally like fell in my lap, and so it all got shook up. So yeah, it's quite all right though, quite all right. What's happening, King Matthew III? Welcome on in, and welcome on in, Gorehound Gazette. Appreciate you. We got Saigon. I can't believe I'm still in Saigon. What's happening, Saigon? Welcome on in. Ryan Michael dropping the 199er. What up, Davey? Just hanging out with you guys. Pumped to talk some horror. How about it? I fell asleep drafting my Scream 7 review last night. Yeah, man. I admire so much the people that can script their videos. Maybe I go live too much. If I were just like, you know, strictly pre-recorded with like a live or two a month, I'd probably be able to script things a little bit better. I usually go off the cuff, but admittedly I've been thinking, you know, so it's like kind of drafted in my head. But yeah, I am curious to see what you have to say about Scream 7 there. Holy cow, we got Gina, aka My Chunky Jordy, hanging out with us. How are you doing, Gina? Welcome on in. Say hi to Ziggy for us. I'm so happy you can make it. I'm always, you know, I'm thinking about you and thinking about Asha when I go live on these UK streams, because I know that, you know, you guys are the ones that are like, where are the UK streams? And rightly so, rightly so. We need to do more of them. Let's see what we got. Jigsaw gifted 5 memberships. Holy cow. And guys, we're going to get to the news. I just want to be able to say hi to everybody and cover, you know, when you guys are, you know, so gracious to financially support the channel, I can't not pay attention to it. So Jigsaw's gifted 5 memberships. Guys, that's huge. Membership, we're trying something different this year. We have a horror movie club. It's like a book club where we're kind of diving into the literary side and talking about, you know, storytelling themes and themes that go throughout horror, maybe themes that connect our horror, you know, horror movies to other franchises or to other stories that we've, you know, experienced in our lives. So we just wrapped up the Scream franchise. It was a lot of fun. If you're a new member, you can go back and check out those discussions. They're less, it's less like movie chat and review and more trying to dive into the deeper thematic elements. Now, of course, they're movies, so we talk about the movies, but it's just a little bit different than your standard kind of movie chat, if that makes sense. So if you want to get a little extra nerdy, the horror movie club's a lot of fun. And I need to cook up some other ideas for the members, but the cool thing is for 99 cents a month, you can be a member, and at least you're getting, you know, a couple unique live streams a month that are much more intimate than what we get on the public side of YouTube, and just a little bit of a different flavor. And I also go live with the members to do like members only, you know, Q&A, stuff like that, you know, just like kind of getting to know you on a deeper level kind of stuff. So really fun with the members. And because of Jigsaw, we've added, I don't know how many you've added, Jiggy. I think it's been like 12 or 13 within the last couple weeks. So thank you so much. The 5 that were added today are Medley Man, Candy Flosser, Jess Yellow, Chuck Myers, and DJ Plays Favorites. Welcome on into channel membership, guys. Hell yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Did everyone tell me that I look like the guy from Ted who had a son who wants a teddy bear? No, I have not. I've seen like the first movie. I don't know if you're talking about the show. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, I haven't heard that I look like many actors. Like I haven't heard that too much. I've heard like people have told me I look like what's his butt, JP from Grandma's Boy. I've heard that one. I've heard I sound a lot like TJ Miller. Like a lot of people have told me that I remind them of him. And then what's the other one that I've heard? I used to get the kid from Mark from Home Improvement, the youngest son from Home Improvement. People used to tell me I looked like him. So I don't know. I don't know. You're the live mostly, but not strictly horror guy. Yeah, I don't know. Is it a good thing or a bad thing, Aaron? I don't know. Let's see here. What else do we got? Yeah, in about a week, we'll probably get an announcement of the official announcement about Scream 8. Although it sounds like they've been working on it in the background for a while. But I'm very curious to see what the numbers look like, because I know The Bride hasn't been doing well. So the kids movie Hoppers or whatever, that's probably doing okay because it's a kids movie. I think Scream 7 is going to have a pretty decent second weekend. It is a date movie, and it's a movie that people go back to. And word of mouth might be kind of negative, like in our sphere, but I think in the mainstream sphere, it's probably not as negative. Anyways, that's it. That's all we're going to say about Scream 7. We got Jigsaw dropping a $2 super chat. What's happening, Jiggy? Thank you so much for doing that. Really do appreciate you. Want to make sure I'm not missing anyone else. I'll be right back is in the house as well. What's happening? I'll be right back. Welcome on in. You're kicking it with the Death Squad. How about it? Ash is jumping in, but he says, about to head to bed. Shoot, I'm so sorry that I wasn't... are you guys, is it 9:30 there or is it 10:30? I don't even know if you guys do the time jump at the same time that we do over here. But Asha says, about to head to bed. Thought I'd add my 2 cents for us across the pond. We'd love pre-recorded news roundup as the time difference is a hindrance. Gotcha. And it's always there. The live stream will be there for replay, but I appreciate the feedback as well. Jigsaw with another $2. Like McDonald says, we're loving it. We got Gory Tiger joining us. Thank you so much for the 2, Jiggy. Really do appreciate you. Hell yeah. Wow, Jiggy with another 2. Thank you so much, man. Jigsaw's going to make these super chat goals happen just on his lonesome here. Looking forward to Obsession more than Scream 8. Yeah, Obsession is looking good. I am digging what we're seeing. Also, that Passenger movie has a very interesting... the trailer is kind of interesting. I mean, they're jump scaring you in the trailer, but I'm very curious. And we're going to talk about another movie here today that I'm pretty curious about. I can't tell if it's going to be good or not. And that's the thing that confuses me, because I find the premise interesting, although I can't tell if this is really going to, play out. And I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about it. 9:30. Gotcha. Yeah. I tried it, honestly, another reason why I went live at 2 my time instead of earlier is I thought a buddy of mine was going live at noon my time, and I didn't want to step all over their stream. So I went a little bit later than I probably would have done this an hour earlier. But it ended up like it ended up looking like they didn't go on their stream. So anyways, Undertone looks like a lot of fun too. Yeah, it does. We'll see about these movies. There's a lot of those movies of like, it's very Evil Dead-ish, right? It's just with a sound wave. Like you listen to the sound wave and it awakens this spirit. So it is, it's got that kind of like, you've conjured up a spirit through some sort of fucking around. Let's just call it what it is. So I'm curious about Undertone. Those movies are always like, sometimes I think, is the trailer more compelling? And is the premise more compelling than an hour, 45-minute movie could ever be? And sometimes that's the case. We got Todd Bound jumping on in, one of our great channel members. What's happening, Todd? And we got Rebel Sky says, hey, Davey, seen you in other streams. You're doing it. Wish you the best. I'd love to collab on horror stuff. I do write, create, got serious ideas. And I rock. Oh, well, thank you so much, Rebel Sky. I have been all over the place lately, guys. It's true. It's a lot of guest spots. It's been really cool. When you have a small YouTube channel, you got to be pretty creative with how you get people's eyes on your channel. And of course, I've made like really good buddies with a whole bunch of content creators. And, can't say no to everybody. Can't say yes to everybody. You try to do what you can. Especially, I've learned that when a movie like Scream comes out, clear your schedule, because you're going to be talking about it a lot, and people are going to want to have panels and talk about the movie. Thank you so much for the 5, Rebel Sky. If you've got something that you want to collaborate on, I'll just say this. My social media links are in the description. At least they should be in the description. Let me double check. Yes, they are. So you can reach out to me through social media. The links are provided, down there in the description. We're probably not going to talk about that because I talk mostly horror here. That's what keeps the algorithm happy. But I'm sure if you want to see something about Spider-Man, there's 3C, there's all sorts of great reviewers out there that talk everything, right? Those guys, I have a tough enough time just competing with myself and trying to find that corner here in the horror world. If the channel blows up, Ghost, and I'm able to talk about more movies than horror, then awesome, because I'm just like a film fan. I would love to talk more about like comedy and all that stuff, especially. But we're going to kind of keep it on that little corner there. Let's see here. Going crazy from the Mambo number 5, right? Yeah, they would probably put you in room number 5 with the padded cell just to fuck with your head even more. We got Asha dropping a 2-pounder and says, join us. I don't know. I guess maybe the Deadites don't really laugh that way now, do they? They laugh in a bit more of a maniacal manner. Holy cow, Gorehound Gazette dropping a $20 super chat says, I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but I wouldn't be surprised to learn that I have it. I lack the mental focus needed to talk off the cuff, which is why I'm scripting my content. I admire YouTubers like you. And I think I might have something. I've never had a doctor tell me if I'm like normal or not, you know. It's just sort of like, well, however I am, however it's defined by modern science or by whoever, that's not going to change the way I am. So does the knowledge help me that much? Because I'm sort of, so Gorehound, I get really anxious doing pre-recorded stuff. It feels like such, even though no one's watching, it feels like a way more pressure situation for me. I'm really hard on myself. I say mean things to myself, both out loud and in my head when I do pre-recorded. And I feel like the off the cuff thing, I just roll with it easier live. And I know I still make mistakes and stutter and all that kind of stuff when I'm live streaming. I'm just like, you know, sometimes you just got to let go and let God, I guess, on all that stuff. And there are certain videos, Gorehound, I'll confess, there's certain videos where I'm like, I have this grand idea and I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. And I'll do like a skeletal structure on the, you know, I'll do like a bullet point and then I can just off the cuff from each bullet point. So I don't need to write out every single thing, but I'm like, oh yeah, that reminds me of a few key phrases that I want to say and a few moments that I want to make sure to highlight when I'm talking about blah, 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 whatever it is, you know. Holy cow, guys, we are going to get to the news at some point, but the super chats keep on rolling in. Jigsaw with a $2, Ryan Michael with another $2 and says, we are the things that were and shall be again. Yes. Dead by dawn, dead by dawn. Oh, Evil Dead 2, so much fun. So much fun. I'll take all the Evil Dead you got. Oh, thank you so much, Asha. You know, a bit of a smooth talker, maybe, you know, I don't know. I guess talking is something I've always felt comfortable doing. I was in my senior year of high school, I won Most Likely to Join SNL, and I won Motormouth. I had to pick one, so I picked Motormouth. Yeah, they like, it was pretty fun. Got to do the yearbook picture and all that kind of stuff. Talky, yes. My high school had like 1,600 kids in it, a lot of kids, and I was known as the person that talked the most. That's pretty wild. What's everyone thinking? I talked about that the other night, just like when he announced the news. I didn't cover it in a news story because honestly, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I absolutely love and support Bruce and his family, and I send them prayers and, you know, all the positivity and everything like that. I feel like a lot of horror fans kind of know that story, and sometimes with some of these things, I don't want it to be used for clicks, and like I don't want it to feel exploitative when somebody passes away or gets sick and has some sort of announcement. Like, I want to make sure that I'm doing it that's coming from the right place. And there are plenty of people that cover that side of the news and everything like that, and I think they do a good job of it. But yeah, I've talked about it a little bit here on the channel. It sounds like it's not curable, but it's treatable. And so, you know, Bruce, I'm sure he's got good doctors working with him. And, you know, we should be able to get plenty more years with him as far as the information he's told us. And I guess we gotta, you know, just put all the best vibes out there for Bruce. And hopefully, you know, maybe we get another Ash appearance from him, even though he's retired. Maybe this news, you know, makes them rethink that. And even if we don't get something where Ash is like the lead in an Evil Dead story, if we can get him in there and bring in Mia and bring in Beth, or, you know, somehow connect him to this greater story that's being told now and have a passing of the torch moment that's on screen. Yeah, it can be corny. I trust these guys to handle that kind of thing and have it being, you know, and have it be something that would resonate with the fans. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's, I guess that's why I just love living in the lives, and I love, you know, hanging out with you guys in the chat in the lives. You know, I I know I've said this before, Aaron, but there are certain YouTubers out there, like they used to be my favorites, but now I just don't find that I have a lot of time or patience for the lives, because I do really feel like it's just them talking to their screen and barely paying attention to the chat. And so I've fallen out of favor, or fallen out of love with that style of YouTube, because I want, not everyone needs to interact with the chats the way that I do. I try to do it, you know, more than anyone else. But I would like a little bit more from some of these bigger YouTubers. I understand that they can't always, but sometimes it just feels like a lecture or a sermon at church, you know, instead of like a conversation. And I like the conversation aspect of YouTube quite a bit. So I appreciate that you dig that about the experience over here. Let's see. When he could still be around, like, you know, we don't know, like 10, 15 years, no one knows what the timeline is. If it's something that's treatable, yeah, let's not, you know, there will be time to have those moments. But we should appreciate every bit of Bruce we get from here on out, even more so than we already have. And I think that as a horror fandom, like, Bruce Campbell is one of those, you know, he's like a Mount Rushmore icon of horror, I think. Like, I really do think he's up there with the big names. Like, I would put him up there with people like Vincent Price, you know, as far as like, he's left an indelible mark on horror. And so yeah, let's not mourn him now, you know, that we can be solemn, and we can you know, be there to, you know, whatever you do. If you pray, that's awesome. Pray. If you don't, just send all that positive energy to him and his family and the doctors. And you just never know. You just never know. We could have a lot of time with him or not. And yeah. So yeah, let's just enjoy Bruce while we got him. We are too much for most people when we get together. Probably. People will be like, uh-oh, those guys are going to turn into Billy and Stu. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Sequel to Bubba Hotep. Yes, absolutely. Okay, guys, I think I've said what's up to everybody. You know, it's all about, yeah. And you know what, at some point, if we're and Jake, it's amazing that he's, you know, he's at like pretty much 40,000 subs, and it's incredible the amount that he's able to keep up, you know, with people. Because once you start getting to a certain point, the chats really can start filling up, and it can be difficult, you know. I totally understand why some channels, like, they do limit it to super chats, and that's, you know, fair is fair. Like, I'm not here to tell anyone how to run their channel. Like, that's like one of the biggest faux pas, is telling somebody how to run their channel. So I'm gonna keep the audience engagement going, and try to keep it as like evenly spread as long as humanly possible. And of course I want to be able to do this for a living and everything, but I want as many of the OGs to come along and make this thing, you know, see if we can fulfill this dream together, you know, so to speak. Yeah, and I told him, like, I put a comment on his Facebook post, and I was just like, you know, if all the years you had getting your ass beat by Sam Raimi, which, thank you, by the way, you know, I was like, it prepared you for, you know, beating this thing up. This thing has no idea what kind of fight it's about to get into. Like, it picked a fight with fucking Bruce Campbell. So look out, Cancer. This is going to be a tough battle for you. It is going to be a tough one. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and jump into some news. What do you say? Since I've been talking to you for fucking 35 minutes and we haven't even talked any news. Excuse my language. Holy cow, guys, we reached our super chat goal. You guys are amazing. I have no idea what's going on. There's just some really special juju floating around the channel. We have some awesome momentum, guys. It's not lost on me. Your support means the world. Super chats are never required. They're so much appreciated. I would love to be able to do this like 2 or 3 times as much as I do. And the only reason, or the only way that's going to happen, is if we keep on growing and keep this train moving. Okay. Speaking of keeping the train moving, let's see what we got. I didn't even get this like properly set up. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. And then we're going to go on over. Ooh, you know what, guys? You know what? I think I need to talk to you about this again, because it's been a little bit since I've talked to you about this. You guys remember the thing expanded. So Creator VC, they're the ones who are putting together, they've put together the In Search of Darkness, and they did the Slasher Trash documentary, all that kind of stuff. They do these epic, like 4 to 6 hour documentaries, and they have put together one for The Thing called The Thing Expanded. Brand new interviews. John Carpenter's there. You know, we've got Kurt Russell is there as well. Gosh, why can't I think of any of the names? I should just bring up the site. I'm totally brain farting right now. Keith David, Thomas G. Waits, David Clennon. We've even got Dean Cundy is showing up on this thing. We've got all sorts of people who are involved in the production. This is a 5-hour documentary about The Thing, and I want to share my affiliate link, because if you purchase this documentary with my affiliate link, it helps out the channel. Yeah, I'm shilling for Creator VC, and the reason why I'm doing it is because I think they do awesome work. And so when they reached out, I was like, oh my God, what a great opportunity. I already, you know, you guys know how I feel about slashers and doing the In Search of Darkness stuff and the slasher trash and all that. The Thing is, you know, I have a very personal connection with this movie. It came out the year I was born. It was shot in my hometown of Juneau, Alaska. So I feel extra connected to it. And I happen to think, removing those two factors, I happen to think it's arguably the greatest horror film of all time. So I think it's amazing to get a 5-hour documentary about this beautiful film that's with a reputation that's only gotten better throughout the years. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat here. Let's see here. I'm just going to say support Creator VC and Davey Deathray by snagging. Ooh, snagging. How do you like that? The Thing Expanded. There we go. And guys, here, I'm just going to pin that in the chat really quick. There we go. That link is pinned in the chat. And I'll just skim through here. Let's see. This is the article by Bloody Disgusting. So this just kind of, you know, jumps into it just sort of breaks down the whole thing. We have that lovely shot. Look at Kurt Russell with a big old smile on his face. But what I really want to show you guys is the actual website, because it breaks down the different versions. So this is a pre-order that's going through the end of March. The digital delivery, guys, is going to be this April. The Blu-ray delivery is going to be in May. So a pretty quick turnaround. And yeah, $99 plus shipping for the whole, like, you know, the whole package. But if you only want a digital version, that digital version would be $49.99. The cool thing about this, guys, is you get your name in the credits no matter which version you get. Of course, the physical media version comes with, you know, a poster and a book and the Blu-ray and all this kind of stuff. There's even a t-shirt package that has a shirt for the whole project. Anyways, I'll let you guys peruse that site yourself. There's plenty of different options. Just wanted to let you know you can support the channel. You can support Creator VC by using my affiliate link. And yeah, who doesn't want to watch a documentary on one of the greatest horror films of all time and get some insight and some stories that we've never heard? I really want to hear them talking about Alaska because I've read little bits about it, but I haven't heard much from the actual performers about what it was like. I've heard stories of them having to fly the helicopter down from the ice field into downtown Juneau so they could pick up like beer and groceries and stuff like that. So like, I want to hear those stories from Keith David and Kurt Russell's mouths, you know, like I would be tickled pink if I could do that. So affiliate link is in the chat, all that good stuff. And with that being said, let's move on to some actual news here. I'm going to wet my whistle. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I just meant to mute my mic. I'm gone. I'm there. Okay, here we go, guys. Man, this thing. Let me do a proper intro. Oh my gosh, you guys. Mike Flanagan's Exorcist movie. Let's talk about this and let's look at this cast that is just ever growing and really impressive. It's like every day they're adding like little pieces. It's like off season for your favorite sports team and you find out, oh my gosh, they picked up like 3 all-star players from 3 other teams and we're definitely going to win the championship. It feels like they're setting up Mike Flanagan's Exorcist. Like the only way this thing is going to fail is if the story is bad. You know, that's the vibe I'm getting. Still definitely possible. I think The Exorcist is a difficult franchise to work in. You know, the first film is a bona fide classic. A lot of people really love that third film as well, and rightly so. But other than those two, this is a franchise that is like, you know, teetering. It doesn't really have legs. It's kind of like TCM. Like they keep on making movies, but nothing, you know, this thing keeps on stumbling and falling and having to be like rebuilt almost every time it comes back into the fray. You know, I feel that way about both of those franchises. And we have an opportunity here with Mike Flanagan's Exorcist to finally get, you know, to put the franchise on some solid ground. And I'm curious to know from you guys in the live chat. And if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. Just your temperature on like, do you need an Exorcist movie? I always think of that because I'm not, you know, it's not a franchise that I have attached myself to. So I always think like, is this something fans want? Like another attempt at The Exorcist? Should we just leave well enough alone? Or since it's somebody like Flanagan, I mean, you know, the track record's there. So is it just kind of like, well, I don't need an Exorcist movie, but since it's Flanagan, I think we're going to get something good here. So let's see what we got. I'm just very curious to know what you guys think. Whenever I see somebody like Flanagan, I know he works with a lot of other people's properties. I'm just sort of like, I would love to see them kind of do something on their own, but he's found a lot of success with other people's properties. So let's jump in here. We got an article from John Squires over at Bloody Disgusting. The headline reads, multiple Mike Flanagan regulars, including Carla Gugino and Kate Siegel, join the Exorcist cast. Now, this was published on March 5th, so there's Carla Gugino, lovely as ever there, a staple of the Mike Flanagan casting department. And yeah, let's jump into the article here that goes through all of the ads that we've had lately. And I think, yeah, okay, cool. I just want to make sure that everyone here. So the article continues by saying Mike Flanagan loves to work with the same trusted group of actors on each of his projects, and the Flana family, that's a thing, right, is coming back together for The Exorcist. Deadline reports today that Flanagan regulars Rahul Kohli, Hamish Linklater, Gil Bellows, Carl Lumbly, Robert Longstreet, ooh, I loved him in Kills, Matt Bedell, Samantha Sloyan, Kate Siegel, John Gallagher Jr., Benjamin Pajak, interesting, Pajak, and Carla Gugino have all joined the cast of The Exorcist. They joined previously announced cast members Scarlett Johansson, Jacoby Jupe, Diane Lane, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Sasha Calle, along with John Leguizamo. And they didn't put it in here, but Lawrence Fishburne was recently added. I don't know why he's left off of here. Hopefully he didn't leave the project. If you know something that I don't, then let me know. And it says here, we're getting a little bit of info. Scarlett Johansson will star as a mother with Jacoby Jupe playing her son. Okay, so there we go. You know, I knew if you go back to my video covering when Scarlett Johansson was announced for this movie, I think I predicted a couple things. One is I was like, well, we're going to get a bunch more stars that are going to join this movie. Because once you bring on Scarlett Johansson, like you have legitimized your project in the eyes of, you know, mainstream Hollywood. Not that Exorcist wasn't mainstream to begin with, because I think it is to a degree, right? It's a classic horror film that most people have at least heard of. And when you bring in somebody like ScarJo, like others are going to follow. I even made a prediction that I think she's going to become a producer of some sort at some point. We haven't seen that yet. It might not happen, but usually these bigger actors sign up as producers because it allows them to invest monetarily in the film. So therefore it allows them to make money in a different way other than just their performance. It also allows them to take a little less money for their performance if they want to kind of spread it around and get some other stars. And it just brings extra cachet, right? So it's just one of those things that if you have somebody like Scarlett Johansson sign up for that, we've seen it a lot in horror films where the bigger actors end up becoming producers. Like I think Courtney Cox is one of the producers on the Scream franchise now at this point. So it's just interesting to see how that works out. Now, I'm not going to dive into the rest of the article here. We're just talking about the cast because, as you can see here, the plot details remain under wraps. So it's going to be a brand new story. Shit, we don't even know if this movie is going to be called The Exorcist once all is said and done. They might call it that. They might have some sort of different name for it. So we're just going to roll with what we got. Looks like it's slated for March 12th, 2027. So just about a year for this thing. And yeah, I think it's a banging cast so far. Like this is pretty impressive. Like I said, here, let me just go back to, I'm going to go back to this view there. Yeah, so like I had previously said, what did I previously say? I'm like having a total brain fart. Oh yes, I remember. Like I had previously said, you know, really the only way I think that they can screw this up is to totally fumble the story and have a bad script, because they're setting you have all the other pieces in place, right? So I'm feeling pretty good about this, even though it's a franchise that, like I said, I'm not very attached to, but I have a good feeling about it. I want to hear from the hardcore Exorcist fans, though, whether you're in the live chat or you're watching after the fact. Jump into the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this news story. Let me know your temperature on Flanagan's Exorcist film. And yeah, just give me everything you got in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything here at the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. All right, there we go. We covered one news story so far. How about it? I'm going to jump in here and see what you guys are saying. We'll do a little check-in with you guys. Here we go. Let me scroll back on up. Okay, documentaries. There we go. They've taught me everything I know. Well, like, it's really fun deep dives on films, right? I really love those. Yeah, it is. It's really easy. You can just put it on in the background as well. You know, it's kind of nice that way. Not a big fan of the Exorcist franchise, but Mike Flanagan is a master of his craft and will definitely give this one a chance. He does. Yeah, he's to be trusted, I would say. We can trust Mike Flanagan. Because of what Flanagan did with Dr. Sleep, I'm absolutely intrigued to see what he's going to do with The Exorcist. I have faith in him. What a good word to use there, Jamie. Carla Gugino and Kate Siegel sounds good to me. Yeah. And he's married to Kate Siegel, right? They're both great. Yeah. They're both great. Carla Gugino is just smoking. Only seen the first Exorcist. I think I've only seen the first and the third. That's it for me. Yeah, I haven't seen any of, like, I didn't see Believer. I didn't see any of the, you know, when they tried to bring it back in like the late 90s or early 2000s, whatever that was. Todd says, I really don't think we need another one. And that's true. It is definitely not necessary for the franchise to continue. So at this point, it's sort of like, well, since this is happening, is Flanagan going to do something with it that's interesting enough to warrant you know, a brand new kind of kickoff for the franchise, or to get people, Todd, that are feeling like you're feeling, you know, to get people like you a little more interested or intrigued again. But yeah, they could have ended it after 3. You could have ended it after 1. I mean, 2 is a departure, you know, a huge departure, and 3 is tangentially connected to the story. So, so yeah, it's an interesting conundrum there. That's a pretty good one. Singing a little, what is it, Dead or Alive that did that original? Yeah, I feel this sentiment and I see it all over the place, Aaron. I think, you know, you and Todd kind of like right there on the same page. It is an incredible cast. Yeah, it is. I think that's one of those things where I'm like, damn, this is getting really stacked here. Even when it was just Scarlett Johansson, Diane Lane, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Lawrence Fishburne, I was like, well, fuck. Like, they've got a pretty strong cast here. And, you know, adding, like, the people that we've seen them add, you know, Leguizamo, Gugino, Siegel. Yeah, pretty good. Dude is never making the Dark Tower series. That's going to be a 10-year project, isn't it? At some point, he'll just announce that he's executive producing and helping them write. Something like that, right? Regarding Courtney Cox being a screen producer, great. Now I'll never see Gail die. It happens though. There's other franchises. Well, Jamie Lee Curtis was a producer on the David Gordon Green Halloween movies. I think that's, you know, she took a really small paycheck. So I think that's a great way for Hollywood to be able to not spend as much money on movies, is bring in some stars with, lure them in with producer points. Yeah, so we see that happen, and Nev might even be. I don't know if Nev is a producer at this point, but I noticed Courtney Cox's name on there during 7 and Radio Silence. They're listed as producers as well, which is interesting. Hopefully it's just a money investment there. I heard Leguizamo's voicing the Pazuzu statue. Is he playing some sort of villain? I can't tell if you're making a joke there, Ben. I feel like that's maybe a little bit of a joke, but I like it. Since I'm a fan of cinematography, I should at least see Exorcist 2 once. Yeah, I've seen so many reviews that show it off, but it's true. I've never actually sat down and watched it myself. Yeah. Yeah, the studio is, I mean, they never want to let that one go because it's when they do polls or when people put out their list of top 10 horror movies, a lot of writers and critics are going to put The Exorcist in the top 5, you know, top 3 probably. So they don't ever want to let it go because they know that there is a there, and they know that it will get mainstream coverage because of the original, right? It's like doing Doctor Sleep, like a sequel to The Shining, or it's like doing if they did another Jaws movie, it would get attention, you know. And sure, a bunch of us would be like, oh no, they're doing another Jaws movie, but it would get a lot of attention, so, and probably make a lot of money. All right. Is the series canon or no? I don't know. And that's another thing I like forgot about, that there was a TV series. Yeah, Exorcist is just not really on my radar. It's kind of like TCM, where I'm like, there's like 2 good movies in this franchise, but we still talk about the franchise as if it's like a solid franchise instead of, you know, it's just like the one or 2 movies that these franchises are known for. What's happening, Max? Welcome on in, buddy. Welcome on in. All right, guys, let's jump on over to our second news story here. This one I've got 2 articles for here. Let me see. Let me get it back on over. I'm going to do, wait a minute. What's going on? Okay, here. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do the at, and then we're going to do this. Guys, let me just do a clean wipe of my facial features here before we get going, because I've got some feelings about this one. All right. Okay, guys, so 28 years later, let's talk about this franchise and this supposed trilogy. Now, as you can see here, right next to me, there's a headline from Alex DiVincenzo over at Bloody Disgusting that reads, Cillian Murphy is ready for 28 years later trilogy capper, even if the studio isn't. And there's been all this talk surrounding whether or not this third film is going to happen. And we haven't, like last we heard it was a go, right? And then we've seen some verbiage out there. We're going to jump on over to another article once we read what Cillian has to say here. And we're gonna check out some info, because there's definitely some concern within horror fandom about whether or not this third chapter is going to get pushed through. And long story short, it's because the Bone Temple didn't perform very well at the box office. And here, this is my editorial before we actually jump in and read the article. Maybe some of this will be covered. And please let me know, guys, in the chat, if you're watching live, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comments. Let me know your thoughts on these movies, these, 2 most recent movies, and let me know how you're feeling about the third chapter actually happening or not. Because here, I'll give you my summation of what's really happened here. 28 years later was not a good movie, in my opinion. It was like the first 4 episodes of a streaming TV show that's like, it's, you don't have your teeth in until like the end, it felt like it really did feel like the opening chapter of a trilogy, but it didn't feel like its own singular story 28 years later. It did well at the box office, but I think the reason why the Bone Temple didn't do as well is because 28 years later just wasn't very good. And that's just my opinion. I thought it was poorly edited. It felt like a mess. It felt like a 2-chapter story instead of a 3-part story, which every story should have 3 parts. Even if it's a part of a trilogy, it should be a complete story. Look at Star Wars. Look at Indiana Jones. Like, look at any trilogy ever, Lord of the Rings, like whatever. They all have each act has 3 acts. You know what I mean? And 28 years later felt so incomplete to me. And now we're seeing the reverberation of that. Even though it got decent marks by some folks out there and it made more money than the Bone Temple, I'm telling you, the Bone Temple is a far better movie than 28 years later was. And then here we are in this little bit of a limbo. So let's jump in to see what Alex DiVincenzo has to say. I've got another article here that's from Digital Spy that we're going to look at as well. But let's take a look and see what we got here from Alex DiVincenzo. Here we go. Cillian Murphy reprised his 28 Days Later role as erstwhile bicycle courier Jim in 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, with the intention of playing a larger part in the final installment in the new trilogy that kicked off with last year's 28 Years Later. Despite critical praise, the tepid box office response to The Bone Temple has allegedly given Sony cold feet about completing the trilogy despite previously committing to a third film. The Times asked Murphy if it will happen. "Hope so," the actor responded. "I'm ready anyway." Alex Garland is once again penning the script, with Danny Boyle expected to return to the director's chair should it come to fruition. So there's all this there's all this dicey kind of, dialogue out there. Let's jump over to this Digital Spy article. I'm relatively new to this website, so let me know if you've heard that they're full of shit or you think they're full of shit. Let me know. But this article is from Joe Anderton, and the headline is 28 Years Later, fans are concerned third movie has been canceled due to ending comment. So let's see what they say here. We got a shot from the end of 28 Years Later, or end-ish of it, and the article says, 28 Years Later fans are worrying that the third film in the revival trilogy has been canceled, and there's a lack of official communication to quell the rumors. In fact, it's a bit of official communication that has exacerbated them. Back when 28 Years Later was first announced, original director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland announced they were planning on making a trilogy, filming the first two back-to-back. Boyle later stated that the third film hadn't actually been greenlit by Studio Sony alongside the first two and would only happen if all the financials made sense. The third film was announced after fan screenings of The Bone Temple, which were hugely positive because the movie's awesome. But following the second film's release and subsequent underperformance at the box office, speculation has started to circulate about Sony cooling on the idea of doing a third movie. While reports from outlets such as World of Real cite anonymous sources, Hollywood runs on numbers, and The Bone Temple only made $57.6 million at the worldwide box office versus its predecessor's $151.3 million. Each film reportedly had a $60 million budget. And this is the trouble, guys, because I think The Bone Temple is way better than 28 Years Later was. But 28 Years Later came out first, made more money, and people felt snake bitten, obviously. Because that is a massive drop, almost $100 million difference. Yeah. And here we go. We're getting to the meat of the article here. Fueling the Fire is a social media post from the franchise's official account promoting the US digital release of The Bone Temple with the tagline, quote, "Witness the ending you've been waiting 28 years for," end quote. The choice of the word ending has fans either convinced or extremely concerned that the third film has been quietly canceled. So yeah, things are up in the air here. I'm looking for like daily updates just to see if we can find any sort of confirmation, right? That, that the movie has officially, like, we heard it was greenlit. Is everything still on track? Because yeah, these things can happen. Just going right back to The Exorcist, which we just talked about, David Gordon Green was supposed to do three of those movies, right? Yeah, all those plans got blown up after the first one. And I don't even know if it was it was like a financial and critical reason why they didn't do it. So it's really unfortunate. It's the business side of show business. Something can, at least to a large group of the fans, or maybe most of the fans, be a better quality product. But if it doesn't bring in the money, that's like, it doesn't really matter how quality the product is. And it really frustrates me on this one, because I would say that 28 Years Later is like a 2.5 star film, and I would say The Bone Temple is like a 3.5 star to 4 star, like, which is a pretty big jump when you're just talking about 5 stars, right? So maybe the 28 Years Later is closer to like a 2 star for me personally. It's just my personal opinion, but it's such a shame that it made all this money even though it wasn't great, and then the one that was actually good got punished because the last movie wasn't as good. And then now we might not get our third one. So hopefully not. And I'm seeing encouraging words here in the chat from somebody who's relatively close to the matter. We got our guy Darren Sands from Only Sands Horror. Darren, I don't know if you saw my live from the other night. I was like, I know Darren watches these occasionally, and I was like trying to remember, because I was like, I know that Darren like edits and that he works for a studio. I couldn't remember exactly what the studio was, but I knew that you had, you know, had some role in 28 Years Later. And Darren says the social media post refers to a certain character's return, not the end of the franchise. Okay, well, that's good. That's very good. And I really hope we get the third chapter, because I think I love the Bone Temple so much. Like that was like, it wasn't the movie I wanted from 28 Years Later, but my biggest gripe from the first film is I loved the first act, and there were things about the second act I really liked a lot, but I just didn't get a third act in 28 Years Later. It was like a 2-act story, and there were such good performances. I'm like totally turned around on Aaron Taylor Johnson as an actor because of movies like Nosferatu and 28 Years Later. So there are elements of that movie I really liked. It was just the storytelling let me down. And I loved the Bone Temple. So I really hope that, you know, that what Darren is saying here, that it's not the end of the franchise. So, but yeah, we're kind of waiting. It's one of these weird things in horror fandom where you get wind of something and you're like, no, that can't be true. But you never know. When it comes down to money, crazy things can happen. But that's very encouraging to hear from Darren himself. Thank you so much for jumping on in, Darren, and filling us in. It's great to get that, especially because I have no insider connection or anything like that. So it's great to hear from somebody that's you know, involved in the business, that you've got that word to share with us. And yeah, Ralph Fiennes was amazing. I mean, everybody was so good and the actors weren't even like, again, 28 Years Later, my issues were the you know, the storytelling. And I guess some of the what they use, like the stock footage of like archers and stuff like that. I thought that was a little jarring, but whatever, you know, whatever. That's just like a taste thing. I'm not gonna gripe on that. It's mostly the story. So yeah, guys, with 28 Years Later, I'm curious to know whether you're watching live or watching after the fact. Jump into the comments. Let me know your thoughts on these two films. I know a lot of people really loved the first one and really loved Bone Temple. And then there's some of us that, you know, preferred one largely over the other. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you've heard anything different, I guess we got some good word here from Darren, so that should put us a bit at ease. But give me all your thoughts down below. Thank you for checking out this little clipped out news video. Those of you in the future, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff, and you won't miss anything as it rolls on out. Okay, guys. All right, we are just cruising through the news, cruising and bruising for the news, and holy shit, we have 30 people watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I do appreciate it. Yeah, let's see what you guys are saying here, and perfect timing for Darren to jump on in and let us know what's up. Studio isn't done with the franchise yet. There we go. Oh, you're talking about Exorcist, right? Still. Let's see what else we got. 28 Years Later 3 was already greenlit. Yeah. I think it's a market. And it could just be us horror fans misreading the language and running with it. And I suppose I'll admit that I am now part of that. I mean, it's within the story, it's 28 years later, but not within like real time. Yeah. And it sounds like we're still getting it. I think overall they would end up making money when they look back on the franchise, but you know, I'm not at that decision-making table. Exactly. I know a lot of people that liked both of them quite a bit. Quite a bit. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think you could still be a 3-part story and do a good setup. But yeah, I mean, it definitely does that. There's, you know, when you go into making a movie thinking that you're going to make 3, and so you hold off on storytelling because you think you're going to have enough runway to tell the whole story. I don't know if that's the right way to approach storytelling. That's just a personal thing. I think that I don't think it should be contingent. Like, you shouldn't leave things out because you're like, oh, well, we're going to get to that later. Like, well, if it's pertinent to this movie, then it should be in this movie. And it could still set up. You could still set up the next movie, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. One movie has Jack O'Connell as a main character, and one movie doesn't. And based on what I've seen from Jack O'Connell's presence and his performances, like if a movie has a peppering of him, and then another movie within the franchise has him as a main character, I'm probably going to enjoy the one where he's a main character more, because he is that strong of a performer. You lucky Brits that have gotten to enjoy Jack O'Connell for all these years, keeping him secret from us. How dare you? I'm just joking. I have not yet seen Eden Lake. I'm watching 365 movies this year that I've never seen before. I need patience from everyone that wants me to watch movies, because I am watching movies every day that I've never seen before. So I'm working through them. But in the line of work I'm in, as you know, talking about horror on YouTube, the recommends hit me from all directions. But I'll get to it. I will get to it. Iconic84 jumping on in, saying currently taking a nice walk in the great Illinois weather today while listening to the soothing voice of Davey Deathray. Well, thank you so much, Iconic. Oh, a little Cubbies fan, huh? I'm planning on seeing the Cubbies play spring training later on this month, because my Yankees are coming to town to play the Cubbies, which is unusual that they're doing that, because the Yanks do their spring training out in Florida. We got Raggedy Man jumping on in, one of our great channel members. What's happening, Raggedy Man? Hope you're doing well. Here, I'll tell you this, Gina. Dong's not as big of a part in Bone Temple, although you're going to get a dong or two, but not as big of a part. And yeah, it's a little bit different for you folks out in the UK that, you know, had to grow up with this character that Jimmy is based on. You know, all of us folks over here, it's been a crash course in learning about all the demented shit that guy was involved with, right? So I get it, but it's all done like with purpose. Is like, he's not a good guy. He's not a guy that you want to be like or that you respect. He plays a total piece of shit, but there's something, I'm sure you know this, Gina, there's just something about how charming Jack O'Connell is as a performer, that even when he's playing a piece of shit, the performance just kind of sweeps you in. You know, I felt the same way about when he played Remick in Sinners. So let's see here. Yeah, Dog Soldiers is fun. I like Dog Soldiers. I'd say for Neil Marshall, I prefer the Descent, but I like Dog Soldiers. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Evil Dead. Evil Dead meets a werewolf movie. What's happening, Nightmare Files? Welcome on in. Thanks for joining us. I am tracking daily. Yeah, I'm tracking on Letterboxd, guys. I'm almost at 2,100 films that I've seen in my life. I'm getting really close to that. So, and I'm only at like 50 this year, so I need to start doing 2 a days. Yeah. Yeah, some of the movies I write a little bit of a review for. I do star ratings for all of them. Yeah. So all that stuff. Yeah, if you guys want to follow me on Letterboxd, my link is in the description. And let's go ahead and jump on over to our next story here. What's happening, Herbert? Thank you so much for joining us. Let's see here. Yeah, we're going to get into this one. We are going to get into this one. Let's see what we got. Okay. Add that there. Guys, this came out, a week ago. Actually, it was like 2 weeks ago now, February 25th. So this is a little bit of an older story. I didn't talk about it with you guys, so I wanted to cover it here just so that way we are covering it. I thought about doing a short for this, all that kind of stuff. I've talked about what Lauren Lavera said, you know, almost a month ago, as far as like not having a script yet. So yeah, on the 25th, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw this, that Damien Leone posted about the status of Terrifier 4. So here we've got an update from John Squires over at Bloody Disgusting with a headline that reads, Terrifier 4, Damien Leone hopes to enter pre-production this spring. All right, so a lot of people had this movie on their 2026 dance card. It's not going to happen, and that's okay. We still have plenty of great horror movies lined up for, you know, the summer, the fall, the whole rest of the year. So we're going to eat pretty well as horror fans. And really, when it comes to something like Terrifier 4, which has got a lot behind it because, man, Damien Leone has promised a lot. And he's promised a lot in the department that I think people have been most critical of him in. And I think the criticism's fair. He's been taking a while to write this story. We've gotten, word that Art the Clown, we're going to get some backstory from him. Things have been hinted at. If you watched last night's stream, Ben Grimm really got into it in the chat and was throwing some stuff down that I kind of missed in the early Terrifier movies because it's a light show and a no tell kind of lore. And I would like a little bit of tell, not huge exposition dump, but I would like a little bit of tell because we're 3 movies into this franchise and so little is concrete. We can postulate, we can sort of read into and make up these, and come to conclusions our own, but the film has not been very concrete about most of the supernatural elements. Let's just be honest. And the performances have kind of lacked in the franchise other than Art and Sienna, I think. And so Terrifier 4, this is interesting. This is like trying to put a cap on this thing. I'm sure Art's story will continue down the line, but trying to make sure that Terrifier 4 is the best one yet. I'm glad that he's taken the time and they're not just rushing it. There might be some disappointed Terrifier fans, that we have to wait until 2027. But I think that'll be in the film's best interest. So let's see what the article here by John Squire says. We got that shot of Art the Clown that's like, I don't know, I'm just so charming and cute. Sure you are, Art, sure. So the article reads, Damien Leone has taken to social media this afternoon, February 25th, to clear up false information about Terrifier 4, while also providing the first official update on the upcoming film in a few months. The basic gist of Damien Leone's update this week: he's almost finished writing the script for Terrifier 4, and he hopes to enter the pre-production stage this coming spring. All right, so yeah, pre-production, building sets, getting everything ready, makeup tests, all that kind of fun stuff. Handing off the script to your performers so they can actually see a finished product, because I don't think anyone's seen a finished product. Those things are important. So let's see here. Leone says, quote, since there's so much Terrifier 4 speculation and false information out there, I wanted to drop in and give an official update. The script is very close to completion, and I'm hoping to begin pre-production this spring. This is the most precious script I've ever written for many reasons, but it's also the most challenging. There's a lot of material to tackle and a lot riding on this one, not just creatively, but emotionally. We've built something special together over the years. The cast and crew who have been here since the beginning deserve a finale that honors their dedication, and the fans who've championed this franchise deserve something unforgettable. So there we go, guys. That's the official word from the creator himself. And this is good, right? I've been critical of the writing. Some good friends of mine have been critical of the writing as well. I know people that love these movies that admit it's more of a showcase for the effects and the kills and all that stuff than anything else, and I think that's fair. It sounds like Leone is taking a little bit of a step back and wanting to make sure that Terrifier 4 stands out. 4 movies in a franchise. Again, I think they're going to continue it, but this is going to be the end for now. And that's kind of unusual that you would do a 4th chapter would be like an end for now. Of course, we did get Friday the 13th, the final chapter, but like a year later, they're making a non-Jason movie. So I do appreciate that from Damien, that it seems like he is aware of the weight of it all and that he wants to put something really good out there. That should be encouraging. Terrifier 4 should be the best movie in the franchise. I think the movies have gotten better. That's my personal taste. I think Terrifier 3 is the best one so far. These movies are not my cup of tea. I look at them from a different angle than some others might. So I'm hoping Terrifier 4 is really awesome. I'm hoping it isn't longer than 2 hours. No horror movie really should be. That's just another personal opinion. But yeah, I'm curious to know what you guys think. I know this news isn't news anymore. But as we barrel towards pre-production on Terrifier 4 and we start speculating what the film is going to be about in a more pinpointed way, maybe we speculate, gosh, the last one was Christmas. The one before that was Halloween. Are they going to center Terrifier 4 around another holiday? Hear me out. Easter. I don't know of any you know, there's got to be some sort of exploitation Easter horror movies out there. I'm sure Killer Bunnies, shit like that. But I mean, like, have we really had like a good like run on Easter themed horror films? And it fits in, you know, doing Christmas and then following it up with Easter. There's this whole resurrection thing with Sienna's character. There's definitely, I don't, you know, maybe not a strictly like Judeo-Christian kind of thing, but there is like a pit of hell. There's spiritual, you know, ties in this franchise. And anytime you're dealing with demons, I can't help but think about spirituality, heaven, hell, like what, you know, whatever you want to call it. So it would be interesting. Think of Art the Clown with all of those like light pastel Easter colors, like Art the Clown chopping up an Easter bunny at the mall. Not even at the mall. They just did the mall Santa, but just some, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Easter egg hunt, and these kids are popping open eggs and there's like body parts in them or eyeballs or whatever. I'm just like spitballing as to how they could have it in 2027, not have it be too late. You could even release the 4K and Blu-ray and all that stuff for Halloween that very same year in 2027. And you could do this like, oh my gosh, like full on sort of religious full circle kind of moment, you know? I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm curious to know what the folks in the chat have to say about this one. And I know we have a lot of Terrifier fans that watch the channel. I've put out polls out there, and oh my gosh, I can see in the numbers that you guys are passionate about this franchise. So jump into the comments if you're watching after the fact. Let me know your thoughts on Terrifier 4, what you want to see from the movie, when you think it's going to be released in 2027, your feelings on it getting essentially delayed. I mean, they never said it was going to be 2026, but I've seen everything on Google. It was assumed it was going to be October of this year, even though we never heard anything about it. So yeah, jump into the comments section. Let me know your thoughts down there. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and, you know, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, what are you guys saying about Terrifier 4? What are you saying? Let me scroll all the way back up. There we go. Watching while you edit. Well, I hope that the soothing voices of Davey Deathray. Yes, voices plural. Sometimes I use this voice and sometimes I use this voice. Not really, but yeah, Nightmare, that's great. And I know that you're relieved to have a break from a certain franchise. So we're trying to offer a little bit of that break here on the Davey Deathray channel. I love that we're getting Art's backstory and more lore. Yeah, I don't think it. Well, and here's the problem, Asha, is like, God, they could have spread out. They could have spread it out a little bit more. It might feel like a dump of lore in Terrifier 4 because we haven't gotten any dump of lore. The Terrifier 3 book, guys, I read that whole book here on the channel. It had some really cool insight that the movie didn't have that I thought was pretty awesome. Like the way it gave us greater hints about like the, you know, why Art and Victoria operate the way that they do, a better insight to their relationship. There's like some extra kills and some extra moments there that paint a better picture than I think the film did. But yeah, he's left everything to like the final chapter of his story to really, you know, start explaining stuff. I always thought that it was, even before Terrifier 3 came out, I was like, it's got to be tied to the dad. The dad has to be responsible. He has some sort of ability. He made a deal with the devil, witchcraft. Something's going on. Like, I think the dad just had a supernatural ability that the things that he would conjure up and create, that once he put them on the page, that they could sort of enter actual existence. Like a really cool kind of concept, you know? We'll see how much they explain that, if at all. Herbert says, in honor of the greaser from Friday 5 that just passed away, I'm watching Friday 5 A New Beginning. Yeah, I saw that we had lost him. What's his name? We can bring that up, Herbert, since you brought it up. I wasn't gonna, again, I don't do every in memoriam kind of post here on the channel. I see channels that do that all the time, and I just kind of let them have it to a degree. But let's bring that up, because I do see it right here, and then that way we can have a little chat. We can use this actor's name instead of I would only know him as the greaser as well. So here we go, guys. Friday the 13th, A New Beginning actor Corey Parker has passed away. And yeah, this is you know, he played the greaser, the Rat-a-tat-tooey. There he is, only 60 years old. I know 60 to some folks might seem old, relatively speaking, in the day, and you know, in the modern time that we live in. Passing away at 60 is still, I still see it as relatively young. So Corey Parker has passed away at the age of 60. TMZ reports the actor died on Thursday in Memphis, Tennessee, after a battle with cancer. So cancer rears its ugly head once again. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what you've done. It doesn't care how healthy you've tried to maintain yourself throughout the years, all that stuff. We see that with somebody like Bruce, who, you know, looks to be a pretty healthy guy. Cancer just doesn't fucking care. And yeah, unfortunately, we're still going to see stories like this. So Parker played the ill-fated greaser Pete in the 1985 slasher sequel, which he later recounted in the documentary Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th. His other genre credits include Michael Winner's Scream for Help and Tobe Hooper's I'm Dangerous Tonight. Parker was also known for a 5-episode stint on Will and Grace as Josh, one of Grace's boyfriends. I did not know that. We need to find some pictures there. I was not watching sitcoms during the era of Will and Grace. He appeared in the likes of 9.5 Weeks, Nashville, Biloxi Blues, White Palace, How I Got Into College, and The Rainmaker. Later in his career, Parker became an acting teacher and served as an acting coach on Miss Marvel and Sun Records. Parker's sister, actress Noelle Parker, said in a statement to the BGB studio, "I believe he left this world weightless, at peace, and surrounded with love." So there is a shot here of him from, oh, he's got a cool like guitar chart shirt. I like that shirt. Ooh, a nice Rickenbacker on there. I like that shirt. Yeah, you know, I really only knew him from his performance as the greaser Pete in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. But rest in peace to Corey Parker. Goddamn, cancer's just the fucking worst, guys. It is just the worst. We keep on losing people. And, you know, this movie just celebrated 40 years last year. And, you know, we're, you know, saying goodbye to some of the performers from it. So, yeah, just thoughts with Corey Parker's family, you know, the fans, all that kind of stuff. And like Herbert said, it's a great occasion to, you know, we're coming up on Friday the 13th anyways. This is a good occasion to put on A New Beginning and enjoy Corey's performance, you know, in his honor. So there we go. And bring it back on over here and see what you guys are saying. Thank you for mentioning that, Herbert. A little bit of improv here on the live news stream. I like it. I like it. He might be able to, yeah, he might be able to kind of make it happen a little bit. Yeah. Oh, Nightmare says, I can watch Terrifier 1 and 2 every day. All right. Yeah, it is. If it had more of the story thing going, I could get down with it. Yeah, gore alone. It's like the Bad Religion song, Faith Alone Can't Sustain Us Anymore. That's how I feel about gore. Although, man, the effects work is, I can certainly like appreciate Nightmare. I can appreciate the artistry behind it all, for sure. No shortage of talent on those Terrifier movies. Regarding Terrifier 4, says Gorehound Gazette, my hope is that the marketing and hype for 2 and 3 haven't tarnished the franchise. I don't think so. I think the franchise is, I think 4 is going to be huge. I think Terrifier just keeps on getting bigger. We got Tia Nina jumping on in, one of our great channel members. Thank you so much for jumping on in, Tia. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. What else? Oh, can't really get with Terrifier 3. Terrifier 3, I think maybe this is what it is, Nightmare. And maybe I could be wrong. Maybe it is that Terrifier 3 just has a little, like, to me, I use this phrase, and I know it's a weird phrase to use with the Terrifier films. Terrifier 3 to me feels lighthearted and fun-loving, comparatively. So to me, it does feel different. I don't know if that's the kind of like feeling that you're getting, you know, that makes it connect less with you, but that's what I've noticed feels different to me about the third movie from the other two. It has all those gory moments and everything, but it does just have a little, it's a little fluffier, relatively speaking. Something, and he doesn't even have to, dude, he can just chop up the Easter Bunny, kind of like Jay and Silent Bob kicking the shit out of the Easter Bunny and Mallrats, something like that. The pastel colors, like I imagine him wearing something with those pastel purple, blue, yellow, all that kind of stuff. So let's see what else we got going on here. Art on Valentine's, I'd be down for that. Yep. I'm down for another Valentine horror movie. Yeah. Valentine's Day. St. Patty's, says Shane. Welcome on in, Shane. Yeah, St. Patty's Day works for me too. I just think of like what you could dress, like what you could put on art. Art is the whatever holiday they're in is kind of like what he's gonna roll with. Yeah, well, and 2, right? 2 is Halloween as well. So the first 2 movies are Halloween. I think Easter would be great to to wrap it, to just like put that little extra bit of religious bow on there, especially since we saw the Pit of Hell in 3. I think that'd be cool. Art on the 4th of July. Yeah. No, that's a good one, Jamie. That is a good one. Yeah. Him putting people on the barbecue, spit roasting people. I could see it. Hey, Watership Down terrified everyone as a child. It ruined everyone's childhood, right? Yeah, brutal. Let's see what else we got going. Guys, I think I've just got maybe one more story here. But now we're in deep. I love this. I love when a movie gets mentioned and I can just see the chat. Like I know you guys have a lot to talk about. So I know that we did this as a news stream. There's 2 tiny stories that we could talk about. We don't have to. We could spend some time talking. Let's talk some Terrifier. Let's do it. Let's do it up. Nightmare says, I'm hoping T4 does not overdo it with the gore simply because of the franchise's reputation. I think T3 did a horrible job from that aspect. Yeah, Terrifier 3 didn't match 2. I think it got kind of close, but it didn't seem like it was trying to match it. Yeah, I don't know. Nightmare, what I loved about Terrifier 3 was really the Christmas aesthetic, like the warm, yellowy glow and the big color, like the big bulbed colored lights, like as an 80s kid and all that, like I just remember that being Christmas as a kid to me, like the gaudy over the top big colorful lights and everything. So I liked that look of T3. It just felt so warm and cozy. I feel the same way about Black Christmas 06. There's certain things in the plot that I don't really need to be there, but I really enjoy the movie because what works for me really works for me, and I really do love the Christmas aesthetic and vibe there as well. So I'm probably giving T3 more points because it's Christmas. I'll be honest about that. Really fallen in love with the Christmas horror lately, guys. Like Silent Night, Deadly Night, I thought was absolutely excellent. I really dig them. How about David Lynch's Rabbits? I have not seen that, but if it's a David Lynch thing about rabbits, it probably is filled with unease. Ryan says, I'm glad they're letting the 4th one cook for a bit. They get better and better, and I don't want them to break the streak with a rushed project. Yeah, you never want that, rushing to get it done just because some arbitrary timeline. Like, we've seen how that worked out, or how that works out with other movies and other franchises. I mean, shit, we lost Ben Affleck as a director for a Batman movie because an arbitrary date was set before a script was even finished. So we don't want to see that. And Damien's like in complete control of this thing. So it's good that he's just, he's on his own timeline. And yeah, I really appreciate that. And again, I think the 4th one, regardless of if people didn't like Terrifier 3, I think the 4th one, you could still set it up to be the best one of the bunch. You're never going to blow people's socks off the way you did with the first 2 because they were just so fresh. But I think the 4th one could be the best one in the franchise, when all's said and done and we're looking back on these films in 10 to 15 years and we don't have the recency bias, I think so. Let's see what else we got going on. Love does hurt. Yeah, it is. It's very sad. Yeah. Arbor Day. Art on Arbor Day. Arter Day. Mallrats is free with no ads on YouTube if you have premium or if you use the Brave browser. I love Mallrats. I love it. One of my favorites. One of my favorites. Yeah, Art the Clown shooting fireworks. Yeah, I could see it. Dressed as Uncle Sam, I can see it. Much like the amazing movie Uncle Sam from the mid-90s, right? Can't forget Uncle Sam. I think it was right around the time that Jack Frost came out. Same production company. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely that kind of vibe. What movie is that? What I'm like trying to think, like, is it a movie or a cartoon where something it's like McGee and Me. I don't know if you guys ever watched the McGee and Me. It was like this Christian VHS series about this kid that drew his friend that came to life. It's not Mac and Me, it's McGee and Me, and it's a cartoon character that comes to life. Yeah. Very, very, I've not thought about McGee and Me in years. Let's see here. Yeah, I hit my little pen. Guys, I do want to, okay, we're going to take a quick look at a couple stories here. So as I cough my way through that hit of my pen, let's take a look at this. I just talked about public domain horror movies last night during the Chat Controls the stream. And here we go. We got another example. Long story short, what I said in my rant yesterday, which I'll probably post on the channel in full, is these public domain movies, I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade. Ben brought up a really good point. Like Jack Frost and Uncle Sam. There's always been like low budge horror movies that are fun to watch because, maybe it's like kind of entertaining to watch bad performances, or maybe there's a couple moments that are like, oh wow, that is kind of cool that they pulled that off, even though this movie's not great. Like there certainly is something to appreciate from like low budget or low production value films. I'm not trying to shit on anyone and the work they do because I've never made a film. I don't know what it takes other than a lot of work and a lot of dedication and a lot of teamwork. But I don't even know, I can't fathom exactly what it is because I've never been a part of it, right? So, but overall, the way that I feel about these is it's this weird conundrum. It's like, these people are like trying to make their name in film, but does anyone of real consequence like pay attention to these public domain horror movies? Like, is there a studio head? Is there somebody from Blumhouse or A24 or Neon that is pulling these directors and actors from the ranks of the Twisted Universe and anything that is in that orbit and putting them into like feature films that we care about or franchises that we care about or positions where they're, involved in the creative process of, newer movies or properties that we already know. So I'm just not seeing that connection there. So I don't really see it as like a great calling card. I think a fan film is probably a better business card than one of these movies. And also I just think a lot of times they're different enough to where they could just make up their own character, but they want the recognition of a character like Winnie the Pooh or Peter Pan or Pinocchio, which we've seen recently. And here we go. Right here next to me, you see Wizard of Death, Tin Man's Rise, Heart Hungry Tin Man horror movie coming soon. And guys, I watched this trailer. Yeah, it is just so corny and cheesy. There's the conceit of slasher movies. You're already asking quite a bit of your audience. And then when you're trying to be like, there's like a line in the trailer where they're like, is it a man? Is it a machine? Like, just, I don't know. So silly. And look at this thing. Like, am I supposed to be scared of this guy? I just don't know. He's got eyebrows. The Tin Man has eyebrows that are like bolted to his head. That's weird. I think that's weird. Anyways, the article says here, Gale Yellow Brick Road kicked off a year of Wizard of Oz horror movies last month. Oh my God, aren't we so lucky that we're getting a year kicked off full of Wizard of Oz movies. Dorothy, The Haunting of Oz, and Wicked of Oz are still to come. So holy shit, we're getting 4 of these. That's crazy. Wizard of Death, Tin Man's Rise now joins the list. Follow the blood-splattered Yellow Brick Road to the trailer below. In the film, a family outing spirals into a fight for survival against the Tin Man, a heart-hungry machine risen from the ruins of Oz. So it's even got like Lauren Sterk from Cinderella's Revenge, Carolina Knight from Popeye's Revenge. So, and then, the UK slasher is directed by William Stead from Popeye's Revenge. So these people are all kind of staying within this pocket. It's just, again, what is this being used as a foot in the door, or is it just straight up exploitation? I'm starting to feel like these are just straight up exploitation, and there's not really anything like, I know this is I'm gonna sound like such a jerk. I just don't think there's anything really honest about these. And I know that's a mean thing to say for all the people working on the film. Nothing against you. Again, I mean, if you want to work in film, you know, and you got to earn your stripes somehow, right? But I mean, like, from the creative side, from the directors and all that, I really don't see what the point is. Yeah, these public domain horror movies, other than just watching them for fun or as a lark, I don't get it. But maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, jump into the comments. You know, let me know. Like, maybe you really like the eyebrows that are bolted on Tin Man's face. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Am I taking this stuff too seriously? I probably could be. But yeah, just curious to know your thoughts. Jump on into the comments. Let me know. Make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, guys. That's my rant part 2 there on public domain. And let me see what you guys are saying here, because it looks like you've got a little something to say. And then I think I've got one other smaller story. I wouldn't cover it, but somebody did bring it up in a chat earlier on in the week. So I did want to address it really quick, just in case they jump back in. Yeah, you know what? And I didn't either. Like, my parents never pushed that on me. I had friends whose parents bought them those videos. So my buddy Rudy Willard, my next door neighbor growing up in on Maryland Avenue in Juneau, Alaska, literal next door neighbor, big native family, the Willards. Yeah, Rudy was like my best bud out of the bunch, but you know, I was friends with a few of them. And he had McGee and Me tapes, and I would see them over at his place. But yeah, my parents never, I grew up Catholic. My parents never pushed anything like that, and they let me listen to like whatever music and, you know, watch whatever movies. So I had a fortunate experience. Like, I didn't grow up with it was my religious upbringing didn't feel like there was any sort of confinement, you know, so very fortunate in that regard. Let's see. Art will make your colors burst. Yeah, making people into like eggs. Like dipping people into like the vinegar dye mix, and they drown, and he pulls them out and they're colored like an egg. Oh my God. And then maybe they like crack open and ooze blood all over. Ooh, maybe it's acid that he dips them in. Ooh. Come on, we're writing it right now. Damien, we've got some ideas. Put Art in Easter. Come on. You know, Art the Clown on a cross, rips himself off. You know, just really piss off anybody that's got any sort of sensibilities. Let's just make them all mad. Let's get more kids as victims as well. I liked that about Terrifier 3. T4 was Terrifier 3 more polished. Okay, sure. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It did look more polished. It still had that dirty look, but yeah, it's the highest budget they've had so far. They've definitely gotten slicker as they've gone on. Yeah, I think that's a legit gripe. As a punk rock fan, Nightmare, I totally feel you, because that's what you like. Oh, wow, their first album sounded like it was recorded in a trash can, and I kind of liked it. And then their next album was like, it was that sweet spot. That second album where it was like not quite trash can, but it also wasn't like this was recorded in space and is absolutely perfect. Oh, God. And then they signed a major label, and their third album just sounds like it was recorded by robots and not even done by humans. You know, like I've definitely felt that kind of progression, that trajectory. Yeah. Tia says, what the fuck? No way. The Tin Man is my favorite Oz character. And they've turned him into something that just wants to like eat, like cut out and eat hearts, I think is the plot. I'm not going to show the trailer here. I don't need to show the trailer. You guys are more than welcome to check out the trailer if you'd like to. It doesn't look, it looks just silly and dumb. That's what I'll say about that. We got Carrie Craves Cinema jumping on in. What's happening, Carrie? One of our great channel members. Welcome on in. Hope you're feeling very well rested and feeling really, really good here today. Saw the trailer to this, but it looks crap. The Pinocchio. What am I saying? Pinocchio. What am I saying? Nipple? The the Pinocchio unstrung, right? That'd be hilarious if it's unsprung. Like Pinocchio's dick doesn't work anymore, guys. He's Pinocchio unsprung. He needs what is there a wooden version of Viagra? Pinocchio unstrung looks really good though. You know, the first half of the trailer they had me, dude. I was like, oh, he's got to like kill people and absorb them to become a human. But no, he's literally just like clumsily draping like human skin on his body. I would have loved it if they just went full supernatural and he literally like absorbs and starts turning into like a fleshy monster. That would have been really cool. Again, though, something they could have done without calling it Pinocchio, because hearing Richard Brake yell Pinocchio is super cringe. And then even like Robert Englund as Jiminy Cricket, I couldn't even tell it was him. So there's only a little bit, like it could be way cooler in the finished movie and everything like that. But it like, I was like, oh, that's Robert Englund. Like, I know it's him, but I'm trying to like really hear the voice there. So yeah, I just think this could have been something, this could have been like an original idea. Kind of like how the Child's Play remake could have been an original idea. You know, I mean, they kind of did it with Megan just like a few years later. So yeah, I was there. The first like third of the Pinocchio unstrung. I was like, okay. And then they lost me. They totally lost me. We got Cake Boy 227 hanging out. What's happening, Cake Boy? Welcome on in. Trying to find a flying F for these public domain movies, and I'm coming up empty. Yeah, and maybe I think what it is, Jamie, I think Ben brought up a good point last night. It is like when you want to watch something bad, you go for them. It's, you know, it's not like these people are acting as if they're putting out high quality. There isn't an air about these productions where they're like, finally, the public domain characters are getting their due. Like, we've been just clamoring for Popeye horror movies. How many Popeye horror movies are there? There's like 3 of them now, and they're making a sequel to one of them. Betty Boop. Like, we're just, you know, I guess it is just like Uncle Sam and Jack Frost, which, you know, I think Jack Frost is actually fun. Jamie, I don't know if you've seen Jack Frost. It's got some Twin Peaks kind of vibes for some of the early part of the movie. So there you go. Twin Peaks has been mentioned. How about it? I like Unsprung, though. Pinocchio's like, my dick don't work. Well, they're just doing it because, they're just doing whatever they can because, you know, there's no reason. It's just because, you know, people know the property. That's pretty much it. It's the same reason why we're getting a Masters of the Universe movie, but at least the Masters of the Universe movie is being done with a budget. That's true. That movie is fucking scary, dude. That movie's scary. Yeah, old school's great. Yeah. Nothing but a cynical cash grab. And do they even make money? Like, I guess maybe they do on VOD. Yeah. Yeah, and the shows, or the brick road that they show doesn't have any blood on it anyways in the trailer. Yeah. Freddy does have a, I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too. That's true. Yeah. Well, you got to have some sort of, right? There's got to be a crux for the thing that you've created, right? And the most like logical one that we can come up with is to just, have that, the horror or the religious side is the other side of the coin, right? Yeah. Lucky you. I'm allergic. I can't eat them. If they're cooked down to like a sauce, I can do that. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I just find religious possession movies to not be as interesting. They've never offended any of my sensibilities. And like, honestly, I mean, like real talk, like there are a lot of Catholics, like exorcism is a very real thing, you know? So it's like, if anything, I would think that the church would kind of like it, you know, that it's being treated as something that is real and something that the church can literally combat, you know. It's so yeah, I mean, and I've just always like, I'm sure you've heard me say this, Tia, I love it when demons like don't play by any rules. It's why I'm an Evil Dead guy. You know, when they don't adhere to like any sort of religious kind of stuff, I just find it more fascinating, I guess. Like The Exorcist is a really good movie I never find myself being like, I want to go watch The Exorcist. I'm the same way about The Shining. I never like have a hankering. I have a hankering to watch stuff like Black Christmas or TCM or Halloween or like The Changeling, The Thing, movies like that. I feel drawn to rewatch. The Exorcist and The Shining, I'm like, they are very well made films. I understand how important they are. They don't sink their teeth into me the way that other films do. So yeah, I haven't known, having grown up Catholic, I think the most up in arms the church has been over a movie in my lifetime has been Dogma. That's, I remember that, but I don't remember much about that. I had to go to Sunday school on Easter and had to watch Jesus of Nazareth every year. Yeah. I don't know if I ever saw that movie. I've seen some of that though. Yeah. They are the good guys. Yeah. And I'm sure there are people within the church that don't believe in that level of the supernatural, but I think as far as the doctrine goes, that stuff is treated pretty seriously and definitely possible and documented, so yeah. Let's see here. What else do we got? Oh my God, it's amazing. We're able to talk about horror and mix a little religion talk in there and do it in a way that's very, very chill. So you guys, we are a special group. We are a very special group here. Never watched Popeye, Winnie the Pooh. I haven't seen any of them, Carrie. I've not seen one of these. I heard the Peter Pan one was like legitimately good, but again, it could have just been a totally different thing because it's like they turned Peter Pan into like a chimo with a van. Wow. The Michael Keaton one or the one that I'm talking about? I didn't even know the Killer Snowman movie got to the theater. Holy shit. It's so much fun. The second movie is pretty fun too. I watched it once and it was a watch party on Discord. I was like half paying attention. I legitimately get joy from watching that first Jack Frost movie. It knows exactly what it is, and I do adore that. So maybe that's what's going on in the Twisted Children's universe, and I'm just being a total fucking, killjoy, cockblock, whatever you want to call it. Ben does know his stuff. We're lucky to have Ben in the community. We love everybody in the community. Ben brings in some good points of view, and never would have known about Bloodbeat if it weren't for Ben. So I'm very thankful to know about Bloodbeat. I'll say that. Why didn't anybody tell me my ass was so big? His head is on backwards. Okay. It is. Yeah. Demons. I like that first Demons movie. Still need to see the second Demons movie. And it is. Like, it is in certain ways. I actually think like, at the time when I saw Dogma, I was like, well, this is kind of how I feel about stuff. I didn't feel like it was that revolutionary or anything. Maybe, what he was saying like in film was sort of taking a chance, what Kevin was saying within the film. Because a lot of people don't make movies about that kind of stuff. But I was, in high school, and I was sort of like, yeah, this is like a common sense approach to faith. Yeah. Could have used more Jason Lee. I know he's in a lot of the deleted scenes because I think he basically plays the devil or, the main demon in Dogma. But I'll take more, Jason Lee any chance I can get. She certainly was. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Keaton one is almost more scary. Mikey Van B. What's happening, Mike? Dude, I love your logo, man. I'm a big Trouble in Little China fan. I dig that, man. That's a cool logo. And Mikey Van B says Screamboat was surprisingly fun. Maybe I should give it a chance. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry guys, I got losing facial hair. I'm trying to watch 365 movies I've never seen this year, so maybe I can throw in some Twisted Universe stuff and see what I think about it. Maybe I shouldn't be, a jerk before I've watched it, but I'm just feeling a little jerky, The illustrated beginning of Blood and Honey was great, and then the rest of the movie happened. And I heard the sequel's way better than the first one. Okay, let's see here, guys. I'm gonna do just one more thing because I saw somebody mention it earlier in the week, and I don't think I got to address it because we were talking about 40th anniversary of 1986 movies. So let me just jump back on over here to the news. We're gonna do that. Oh, there we go, guys. We thought this thing was dead. The Megan spinoff Soulmate comes back to life. Official R rating, and maybe a release is imminent. Now, I'll tell you this, guys. First Megan movie, fun enough. You know, didn't really move the needle for me too much, but for a PG-13 like horror film, I was like, okay, I'd have a fun time with it. Megan 2.0 was like, it felt like Terminator 2. Like it wasn't really, it turned into just like a sci-fi kind of movie with some like thriller horror elements, but it very much felt like a Terminator 2 kind of situation. And there were a whole bunch of really bad contrivances in the, like, every plot is technically contrived, like every story that's written is technically contrived, but some really weird like leaps in logic and some stuff in the third act that they just totally lost me. Megan 2.0. I think that's why Soulmate was put on the shelf for just a little bit. Sounded like it was not going to happen. Maybe it's coming back to life because it's getting this R rating, so they're able to do something a little bit more with it that they felt like they couldn't do with Megan. So let's jump into this article here by John Squires. Just posted a couple days ago on Bloody Disgusting with the article saying, the Megan universe was set to expand this past January with spin-off movie Soulmate. But though the film was dated for theatrical release on January 9th, 2026, as of mid last year, it was eventually pulled from release entirely by Blumhouse and Universal. The reason? Megan 2.0 surprisingly failed at the box office, calling the future of the Meganverse into question. I can't believe they already had a name for it, and it was just 2 movies. It was back in December of last year that we learned Soulmate was being indefinitely pulled from release, with the studio reportedly looking to sell off the movie at the time. It's unclear if Soulmate will be scrapped entirely, released into theaters down the road, or dumped straight to streaming, but the project is now showing some new signs of life this week. Soulmate has received its official MPA rating this week, suggesting that the film's release is imminent. The Megan spinoff movie has been rated R by the MPA for strong violence, gore, sexual content, graphic nudity, and language. So it is interesting to note that both Megan movies were rated PG-13. So I didn't even know. So this thing was already shot and in the can. Okay, I didn't know that. Admittedly, I don't follow this franchise that closely. I remember hearing about Soulmate. I didn't know that it was like a Batgirl situation where the movie was like ready to go and they pulled it. I wonder if originally they were going to try the PG-13 route and they're like, F it, let's just go R and see, like, let's just throw another thing at the wall. You know, the kids aren't bringing in the money. Let's see if the horror fans, if we give them a little bit more of the carnage candy and boobs and stuff, like maybe people will come out. I am shocked to see sexual content and graphic nudity. A lot of horror movies don't do that anymore these days. You know, nudity, I would have even been surprised at. Graphic nudity, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Is Soulmate going to strong violence, gore, sexual content? Yeah. Is it going to try to match like a Terrifier energy? Is that what we're going to get from Soulmate? Is Blumhouse like, F it, like, we tried to be too soft. People didn't like the too soft PG-13 approach. Let's just push Soulmate. Let's be the first studio to do something that's close to Art the Clown. Maybe that's what's happening here. I don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys think. You know, we've got Lily Sullivan, who was in Evil Dead Rise, stars in this movie with Claudia Dumit or Dumi from The Boys. And the spinoff is billed as a 90s style erotic thriller with a, quote, new technology twist. Erotic thriller, 90s style erotic thriller. Well, oh my gosh, you guys have certainly heard me talk about how sexy 90s horror movies were, and they really were. Just go back to Candyman. That one's pretty hot, and so many others as well. So yeah, we are getting Soulmate, guys, and it sounds like it's going to try to turn you on and gross you out simultaneously, perhaps. But I'm curious to know what you guys think about this one. I know this is a bit of a smaller story and one that was like almost, you know, kind of forgotten for a bit. But here we go. This thing is being resuscitated. Let's just wrap it into the resurrection talk that we had earlier with Terrifier 4 maybe being an Easter film. And here we go. Soulmate is going to be released at some point, and sounds like it's gonna be balls to the wall. Are you excited about this? Are you interested? More or less interested, knowing that it's rated R and it looks like it's gonna be pretty hardcore? Or do you just not care? I don't know. If you're watching live, let me know in the chat. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know your thoughts down there. Thank you so much for checking out the vid here. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, guys, that wraps up our news for the day. And we'll just hang out for a little bit. Hang out for another handful of minutes. See what you guys say about who the heck wants a Megan verse? Yeah, Megan doesn't deserve a spinoff. All the franchise has ever done is rip off other. It hasn't done too much. The final act of the first movie I enjoyed, like the robot on robot fight. I thought was a pretty cool. I liked how it all came together there. But yeah, not very memorable or anything like that. Probably trying to piggyback on the success of Companion. Damn, I'm cynical. Yeah. And I think I don't know. Do you guys think I'm off about, does it sound like to you that they're going to really push the violence and like it's going to be a shockingly hard R? That's what it sounds like to me. When you put graphic nudity and strong sexual content, right? That's the strong violence, gore, sexual content, graphic nudity. To me, that's like, this is going to be a really hard R, you know? Let's see what else we got going on from y'all. I wish the trailer didn't spoil Companion for me. Would have loved to discover that twist in real time. They sort of spoil it on the poster with like her white eyes, but yeah, the trailer totally gave it away. Yep. Yeah, it is. You're right. It has horror elements, but to me, it felt a lot more like Terminator or even like Predator. Yeah, more leaning on the sci-fi side. Isn't Soulmate about, I guess so. I guess so if they're going 90s erotic thriller and there's a new technology twist. Yeah, could be about sex bots. I think it'll be a little more, so I think Soulmate was not going to live under the guise like Companion. It was almost like, I don't know. The vibe I'm getting from Soulmate is that it's going to be a little more exploitative and not as much of as like a think piece as Companion was. It's just going to be the exploitation version of Companion. Yeah. Let's see. I think they did. I can't remember what that was called, but yeah, a couple years ago. Yeah, I think they did. Great acoustics in the shower. Ooh, I listen to streams all the time in the shower. It's a big thing for me. It's a big, big thing. iRobot meets Basic Instinct. There you go. The hand that rocks the cradle. Sleeping with the enemy, right? Single white female with robots. With sexy Sliver. Ooh, Sliver. How about it? Yeah. Soulmate, she'll tear your dick off. Yeah. Soulmate, they'll fuck you so hard you die. How about it? They'll fuck the life out of you. Single white female was a great one. That Aaron, that makes me think of Beer Fest. I'm gonna break your dick off. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, too bad. It would be more of a tear and less of a break, huh? Yeah, Sliver. Yep. Good stuff. The 90s sexy thrillers. I know. Well, Soulmate, Erica, it was the Megan spinoff that got put in the can. It was shelved. It looked like they weren't going to release it. I just read about it. I didn't even know it was finished, but they're going to release it, I guess, sometime this year. And it's got like sexual content and like strong like hardcore violence and strong nudity and all this stuff. So we're trying to figure out, what is this movie about? Because they're like, oh, it's like a 90s erotic thriller with a new technology twist. And we're like, oh, this is like a fuckbots movie. But it's going to be like a rated R. Like I was saying, you're a big Terrifier fan, Erica. By the way, welcome on in. One of our great channel members and Death Squad mods. It sounds like with how violent like just the description of why it's R, I'm like, oh, is Blumhouse trying to make a movie that tries to reach the violence of like a Terrifier? Because we really haven't seen that from like a bigger studio, because Blumhouse works with Universal. So I always think of Blumhouse as a big studio. You know, they're probably technically mid-level studio as far as finances go and all that. But it sounds like they're like, fuck, PG-13 didn't work in Megan. Like, let's go hard R here. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe they're breaking dicks off. This is why I don't have sex with anything that's not a person that is a willing participant. Don't fuck robots, people. The more you know. All right. Those sex bots ever get rusted? Yeah, like, do they have a pump and dump? Like, what's the receptacle kind of thing like? Is it like those self-cleaning litter boxes? Is it just like go to the toilet and like do a cum dump? What's going on? I can't believe I said that on a stream. Yeah. Subservience, thank you. I knew it had a title that was like, that alluded to that sort of like, you know, slave kind of dynamic. So thank you. I knew the title was a good one for that kind of movie. But I've never seen that. Never seen that one. I think Megan Fox kind of underrated though. Like, you know, something like Jennifer's Body, where she's perfectly cast. Like, that's the whole point, is she is supposed to be like the smoking hot, like sexy bitch or whatever. But I just think the performances are there too. So good for her. I guess I should check out Subservience. It was great, but I think she's really good too. She's never been like, it's really easy to rip on like attractive actors and actresses and just call them shit because like you wish you were hot like they were or whatever. But it's like, I'll always give them a chance. And I think Megan Fox kind of just gets, has like a shit reputation because of Transformers more than anything. Like, I don't see any issue with her performances. It's kind of like Jai Courtney. Like, people rip on Jai Courtney and I'm like, well, yeah, okay, so maybe he hasn't been in the best movies. Is he bad at doing his job? Like, I don't think so. He's just not all. He was like my favorite part of that terrible Suicide Squad movie, the first one. And then I really liked him in Dangerous Animals. I actually liked him in the Terminator movie he was in too. It's not his, he didn't write Genesis. I don't know. Sometimes these people just get totally ripped on. I'm just like, what is going on? UV lights, it disinfects itself. It just burns off the jism. Oh my goodness. I know. And everyone that's talking to I'll be right back, I keep on thinking that you're saying that you're going to be right back when you're like talking to I'll be right back. The good move, I'll be right back. Good move. Yeah, Jennifer's Body is really good. Really good. I mean, I just think the movie's a very cool premise. Jai Courtney was great in Dangerous Animals. Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was super charming in Dangerous Animals. I loved it. The like a look from behind the curtain kind of view at a total psycho, you know. Was she? I didn't know she was 16. I mean, obviously the movie was like 50% about her stomach. Half of the plot of Transformers was Megan Fox showing her tummy while like leaning over the open hood of a vehicle. Yeah, maybe he was. I bailed on Die Hard after like the third one. I think that was the last one I watched. And I am one of those weirdos that I liked Terminator Genesis. I know, guys, sometimes my movie opinions are like, what? There's so many bad movies in that franchise. I'm like, this is not one of the worst movies I've seen. Like, I didn't think Genesis, I'm like, fuck it. Make John Connor a bad guy. Like, at some point they failed so much at trying to kill him that you might as well just like skip the whole thing and assimilate him. And I kind of liked that about it. Yeah, I did. I mean, it's got a terrible name, Genesis. Yeah, weird. Sega Genesis would have been a better name. Yeah, the first Transformers I thought was okay. The rest are just total trash. Have a good one, Asha. Yeah, we're probably gonna close this one up here shortly. Hope you have a great rest of your night. And yeah, we're going to be doing UK streams every weekend. I'm shooting for Saturdays. That way, Asha, even if it is a little late, hopefully more people are able to make it. It just didn't work out this week to do it on a Saturday, unfortunately. But have a great rest of your night, and hope you have a great week. Yeah, he was in both of them. I try not to talk about this. I mean, they're both really bad. Both of those Suicide Squad movies are dreadful to me. And I think the second one annoyed me more. It was, man, that movie really thought it was cool. Like, ooh, James Gunn's the coolest guy ever. I'm just like, dude, I really didn't like that movie. The trailer for Genesis killed the big plan. It did. They shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. Did Samson's evolution remind me a little bit of Bub? Yeah, I think there's always going to be that. They can never go too far from Romero, even when they try to do something different. It's like the Simpsons did it thing from South Park, but it's when you're doing something with the zombie movie, it's like Romero did it. I mean, they ripped off Bub in Resident Evil Extinction and all that kind of stuff too. And yeah, I got a little bit of that vibe. They approached it in a different enough of a way. The doctor in Bone Temple is sane. Somehow he's maintained his sanity. Or you could say he's much more sane than Dr. Logan from Day of the Dead. But yeah, there's totally a parallel. And yeah, I missed that one earlier, Todd. Sorry. Oh yeah. That idea of trusting, this other and all that kind of stuff. And developing that relationship. Yeah, very, very much Bub and Logan. Byron Weaver jumping on in. What's happening, Byron? Welcome in, man. Yeah, I thought Dark Fate was pretty bad. It's probably the worst one I've seen. I've never seen Salvation all the way through because I've just heard nothing good about it and wasn't too intrigued by what I saw, so I bounced on that one. But yeah, I mean, the first two are the best, I would say. I think Terminator 3's got like some really cool set pieces and really cool stuff going on. And yeah, I thought Genesis, for what it was, I'm just like, wasn't offended at it. But Dark Fate, it was pretty bad. Pretty offensively bad, I would say. Let's see what else we got going. We're probably going to wrap it up here pretty soon, guys. Taking an Uber to the drive-in. And now, sir, I'm going to have you stay here for 2 hours. That's cool, right? Don't worry, I'll get the popcorn. Oh, and you need an HJ? Okay. I could go H. I'm not going B. We can go H. We can negotiate. It does always come back to Romero. Yep. Romero was the man. There was this band called Oxide. I lived in Bozeman, Montana for a little bit. There was a band called Oxide I really liked. They were sort of like, it was this like folksy kind of thing mixed with punk. And they were just like quirky, weird dudes. Bassist was this huge guy. Guitarist was this like smaller guy. They were just wild and fun. And they had a song that the guy was like, George Romero, he's the man. He makes movies better than anyone. George Romero, he's the man. Like that was like the friggin' verse. It was like a country Primus singing about George Romero. I mean, I was there. Like I was like pumping my fist, like I believe, because I do believe that George Romero is the man. All right, what do we got here? It looks like we're pretty much yes. Oh well, it's just a indoor plumbing HJ, not an outdoor plumbing HJ. They could still be called HJs. And yeah, totally on board. Totally on board. I'm a giver, not just a taker. It's true. It's the things you've heard about Davey Deathray. Oh my God, Tia. What? Somebody. I'm beside myself, Tia. I'm just still thinking of it. Clicking that mouse. Doing like a little bit of, maybe a little bicycle kind of motion. And maybe a three-prong bicycle motion. Okay, before YouTube removes me, I'm going to stop talking about that. Byron says best horror TV show from the 2010s. Oh, Damn, dude. I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of TV shows in the 2010s. I don't know what the best horror TV show from the 20s. You guys will have to tell me. I mean, Stranger Things was technically started in the 2010s, and I really liked the first season. So, like, that's probably in the running. What you got, like Bates Motel? Might be 2010s. Maybe it started before. I don't even know. Yeah. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because I just don't watch as much TV, you know. After Dark. Oh, there we go. Ash vs. Evil Dead. There we go. That's a good one. That's a good answer, Ben. I did watch that one, and yes, that is the right answer. All right, guys. Oh, Penny Dreadful says Saigon. Can't believe I'm still in Saigon. Yeah, you guys are right. You guys are right. Ash vs. Evil Dead. That's the one. That is the one. And I think that's a good spot to sort of cap this off. We've been going for a little bit more than 2 hours. You guys are absolutely incredible. Yeah, once a week, we're going to do a little stream. I'd like to cover some like recent news stories once a week with you guys. So we'll probably do that on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday. We're going to do it at a time that, yeah, kind of middle of the day for us folks here in the States. But for the folks out across the pond, it'll be like their nighttime, their weekly nighttime stream. And I'd like to cover, yeah, news for part of it. And then for the rest, I don't know, maybe we can get into a watch party. We could just do this kind of like open discussion kind of stuff. You know, each one can just be a little different from the last. And I appreciate you guys jumping in and hanging out with me. Holy cow, we still have about 30 people, you know, as we're saying goodbye after 2 hours. It's incredible. Guys, what you do for the channel, and especially what you've been doing for the channel lately, has been absolutely incredible. The viewership has been great. The engagement has been off the charts, and I don't expect any less from you guys. And what I'm so encouraged at is I just think our numbers are getting more consistent and really solid, and you guys are absolutely killing it on the super chat game. I'm going to just roll through these really quick. It's amazing. Jigsaw dropped a 2. My guy Ryan Michael with another 2. Jigsaw gifted 5 memberships. Jigsaw with another 2, and another. Rebel Sky jumping in with a 5er. Asha dropping in with a 2-pounder. We got Gorehound Gazette with a 20. Thank you so much, Gorehound. Ryan Michael with another 2. And Jigsaw with another 2. Guys, the support means the world. It means the world. And I appreciate it so much more because we don't, you know, I don't hold anything. This isn't like, hey, if we don't get super chats, like I'm not going to answer super chats, or I'm only going to do this if we get them. Like, it is all bonus stuff, and I'm going to give you guys, you're still going to get the goods no matter what, all the inappropriate talk, all that kind of stuff no matter what. And I think it's so awesome that you guys want more and that you want more enough to help or, you know, support the channel financially. It's huge. And yeah, anybody that's not a channel member or can't send in super chats or doesn't send in super chats, the fact that you're here is fucking awesome. Like, that's what counts the most, is the engagement, the community, all that kind of stuff. The super chat stuff, that is, you know, just all icing on the cake. And thank you guys so much for kicking it. You are amazing. The Patreon members, the channel members, our Death Squad mods are incredible as well. And everyone that hangs out. T is like, what about the people in Australia? I don't know. I have such a tough time. I think they're like 13 hours ahead of me or something like that. So I guess it is the middle of the morning for the people in Australia. I don't know. Maybe late at night's probably the best time for them to catch us, because it's probably like afternoon the next day for them or something. I don't know. If you're from Australia, let me know what time my streams go live. I would like to know. And yeah, guys, I'm going to sign off here. Gosh, what else do I have planned? Guys, on Wednesday, I want you to know, Wednesday night, late night with the Davey, we are doing a franchise emergency meeting for Friday the 13th, with the impending Friday the 13th coming on Friday the 13th. So we're going to talk about that on late night with the Davey. We're going to kind of get ahead of the Friday the 13th game. I am hoping, I've been talking with somebody about bringing them onto that stream and having them participate, and we're working out the details. So as of now, I'm just acting as if it will only be me, because I don't want to speak for somebody else. But I'm really hoping that we've got our special guest that's able to join us, because it's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to kind of talk about what's working, what's not working, the future of the franchise, what we want to see from it, what we expect from it, all that kind of stuff. That stream is already built. You can hit the notification so you don't miss it when I go live, but that will be 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, March 11th, 3/11. So maybe we'll celebrate a little 3/11 because 3/11's got grassroots, y'all. And yeah, other than that, I don't know. You'll see some shit from me. I'll be doing stuff on the channel. We'll be hanging out. All that kind of good stuff. Can't wait to defend Halloween Resurrection in a courtroom setting with you guys. That's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, in the meantime and between time, just keep an eye out for stuff popping up on the channel, and we will see you guys here pretty soon. So, having said that, Nicholas, by the way, you're joining in right at the end. I'm sorry that I'm missing you. I do have a DVD collection and a Blu-ray as well. 9 a.m. in Australia right now. All right, that's not so bad. They can wait, wake up with a little cup of coffee, a little Davey Deathray at 7 a.m. Not so bad. My guy, Chris Stanley, if you're watching, let me know. All right, guys, you are beautiful. Thank you so much. I love you all. You guys are absolutely amazing. And until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.